Welcome to the Track Your Life podcast. My name is Boyd Varty, and this show is an invitation to journey with me as a story hunter, following the call of the wild. This series follows a wild expedition into the vast and untamed Namibian desert to track Africa's most elusive and rare animals. Tracking is an art that lives in all of us, and it's my hope that these stories will bring light to the tracks of your own adventure and awaken your own elusive wild one. Episode 2, Lost Tracks. Namibia is like a ghost country. It feels only haunted with humans. It's one of the only countries that size and scope has left me feeling physically daunted. With only 3 million people in the whole country, 80% of whom live south of the capital Windhoek, the country feels, in a word, empty. The joke in Namibia is that if you drive 3 hours, you have a beer, 6 hours, you stay for dinner, and 12 hours, you might stay the night. The scope of the place is unbelievable. We arrive in Swakopmund, into a Germanic-looking town that is literally sandwiched between endless, sandy desert and the Atlantic Ocean. The whole place feels incongruous somehow, like people shouldn't be here. Namibia always seems to leave you asking yourself, who and why are these people even here? Now, as it is with expeditions, the 4x4 we had rented does not have the equipment it said it would have. So we spend the afternoon scrambling for gear. Jerry cans, we need a pan. We find ourselves trying to track down a satellite phone. Crusty-looking fishermen are offloading loads of fresh caught fish next to the hotel we find. And other than that, the streets feel empty. At the supermarket, we enter into a power struggle over food supplies due to a disagreement about how rustic the catering should be. This results in Alex and James taking things out of the trolley that I put in. In a profoundly masculine move, Alex buys about 4 kgs of dried sausage known in South Africa as droëwors, which will become our staple. There's a jar of mayonnaise that does 3 trips between the trolley and the shelf. Bud, touch my mayonnaise again, and I will kill you. You can see the headline now. Lion trackers killed in violent domestic grocery store incident over mayonnaise. These small negotiations are a consistent and fun part of the trip. James leaves his passport pouch full of money at the airport. Someone finds it, and by the time he returns to look for it, everyone from the coffee shop vendor to the police outside the airport are awaiting for his return. "Are you James?" they all ask. "Go get your stuff." The country is so small, the way things are usually washed by the scale of people in other places doesn't really apply here. And in truth, we're off track from the beginning, as a result of not being able to find the lion researcher. He was our linchpin. Our whole plan is scuttled. We are off track and with very little local knowledge in a very big place. I've had this idea for some time that when you lose the track, which of course you will, you need to let go of knowing and give yourself the space to try things. You have to trust in an unfolding, because in truth, something will happen. Over beers and fish, we face the fact that we are lost on day one with no real game plan. So we decide to drive into the desert and get information via the bush telegraph as we go. Now, the bush telegraph is a well of information that exists between locals, safari operators, and guides. It flows below the formal tourist structure of a place and is accessible only with the right energy, relationality, and know-how. It's not just about what you ask, but rather how you ask. The key is the energy you embody, which I will call deferential alpha, when you ask, that will result in a kind of like recognizes like sharing of information. Deferential alpha is self-confidence. You are not a total tourist plonker, but it's self-confidence with humility and respect. And Alex is a master of tapping into this current. Everywhere we go, from bars to tea stops, he begins to source information out of the bush telegraph. And it's true that in almost every category of discipline in the world, this current of information exists if you know how to find it. So with only the first smatterings of local knowledge and information to work with, we start tracking. Word is that the lions have scattered as the game has spread out as a result of recent rains. And spread out here means over wilderness areas the size of European countries. I keep wondering what the trip has in store for us. I know that from a planning point of view, we're definitely undercooked. But the faithful feeling of being able to create with nothing is a hallmark of great trackers. And I feel that around James and Alex. The willingness to operate in the face of a tremendous amount of unknowns. It's one thing to follow fresh, clear tracks, but a true tracker could be dropped anywhere and start to take action to create outcomes. Attuning to where there might be energy, trying things. We decide to drive 6 hours inland to the oasis campsite of Palembach, tracking. A family of ostriches sprints across the road, the young ones scuttling behind their mother. Strange lunar rocks rise up out of the vast desert. The road is dirt for miles. And it reminds me how in a coffee shop in Swakopmund, the owner warned us, don't take mileage seriously. 20 kilometers can take you 10 hours on some of these roads. The satellite phone was a last-minute decision, as in Namibia, you can be stranded in your vehicle in a place that won't see another car for a month. Many people die trying to eventually walk to help in the desert. And now that I'm a father, I feel a natural change in my relationship to risk. I notice a deeper biological survival instinct activated. Yet I know I need to stay acquainted to the focus and attention that occurs in moments that have real stakes. That is why I love these wild weeks. We enter into a state of intense desire to find the lions, but also openness to where there might be other experiences for us. The terrain we are entering is also home to desert-adapted elephants and desert black rhino. The desert rhino is a creature that looks like it's from Middle-earth and has a personality to match its strange appearance. It's secretive and shy. Desert rhino literally eat poisonous euphorbia, get high, and hide from human lights and sounds. And what is there to really stress about? We're together in a wild place. There is actually something quite powerful about being off track. It's more confronting to be without a clear plan. So few things in modern life are this open-ended. But being off track actually asks more of you. I wouldn't rush to get back on track when you're off track. At the campsite check-in to Palembach, which literally means wagging palm, the lady at the campsite desk says with authority, "There are no elephants here." And of course, at 3 a.m., we are awoken by the sound of elephants feeding in the stream bed of the oasis, crunching on shrubs and branches. All the other campers sleep through it, situationally blind, or in this case, deaf, because they have literally never heard the sound of an elephant feeding. So to them, it sounds like nothing. It brings us a great question. What looks and sounds like nothing to you because you don't perceive it as important, or you've simply never taught yourself to be attuned to it? What do we miss out of situational blindness because we are paying attention to the wrong things, or we've simply never learned to pay attention to the right thing? I once had a terrible case of malaria that nearly killed me. When I eventually got out of intensive care, I was struck by the things I longed for. Not peak life experiences, but quiet, simple things. The wallpaper of life. The way my parents' thatched house smells when a chicken is roasting in the oven. The quiet of a campfire. The way my golden retriever would run down the path to greet me when I'd been gone on a trip for a minute. These silent wallpapers of life are what shape us and define so much of us, and we miss most of it. What my son will think of as the nature of the family he grew up in will be comprised of memories and sensations of the intangible day-to-day feeling and mundane flow of our house. Not big adventures, but rather the way our kitchen consistently smelt and felt the energy in the house. I'm struck by a powerful sense that so often people are simply wrong about what's going on. You might think of this as a kind of anti-Bush telegraph, a current of calcified perceptions in any category of information. To a tracker in a new area, I find most regular people don't really know their own terrain. People live in shared narratives and assumptions. One glance at the ground with the right eyes and you can see they're wrong. This is true in family life, in business too. This is true in life in general. If you're going to tap into the Bush telegraph, knowing who to ask is key to avoid getting the asleep party line. People live in perceptions of what's allowed and possible. Socialization is literally an agreement in the belief, this is how it's done, this is what life is. And maybe that's not bad. I just want to be sure I test my assumptions for myself to avoid being overwhelmed by the many boxes life has to put you in. At the campsite bar, Alex quickly finds a local guide who can take us walking in the wilderness area. Everyone told us this was impossible. But we have Tracks for Dawn. We have someone who will take us into the wilderness so that we can find tracks. We have tapped into the Bush telegraph. What more do you need?
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Track Your Life podcast with Boyd. To begin your own story hunting journey, sign up to the online course on Boyd's website, or just find him on Instagram, X, or your favorite podcast player. Please rate and review this podcast so that more people can find and enjoy it.